Movie made zero sense at multiple times, and it was so goddamn boring. Wesley Snipes still has his moments in this movie every now and then, because he's just such a talented actor, but he could not save this movie. It was terrible. Took me 2 days to watch it, and I almost fell asleep 3 times. And I'm pretty sure I did fall asleep the first time. About a half an hour in, I just started falling asleep. And then I watched another half an hour, and I'm about to start falling asleep again when I watched it the next day, which is today. But I managed to finish it. And, it was just such an awful movie. For starters, Blade kills a human in this movie, even though, he's shown to be super smart and he really observes his surroundings and he really hardly ever gets fooled and he's usually like 10 steps ahead. Like in Blade 2, when he already knew that he was going to get betrayed and he already knew that his friend was actually a familiar and he already had a plan to kill him. But in this one, he just gets easily tricked, and he's like, well, damn. And, he's like reckless in this movie and shit. They have Whistler here, they have him have a cool death. Then they try and make you think he's alive, even though they already established that Dracula can, shapeshift. Even though it doesn't make sense why he did Whistler. He killed one vampire guy that he didn't really get along with, and he shapeshifted into him as a disguise. And he just turned into Whistler for literally no reason but to turn into Whistler. And on top of that, there's a lot of stupid stuff in this movie. Like I already said, the whole plot is that they gotta use this little thing, stab the very first vampire, and I guess that kills every other vampire in the world somehow. And Triple H is in this movie, and his lines are just so bad. His lines are dick face, fuck face, how do you know how big my dick is, and a rape joke. And he really adds nothing to this movie. And all the 3 main characters on the poster, only 2 of them get main fights. Ryan gets a fight with Triple H, and Blade gets a fight with Dracula. She just gets to kill a few vampires in the background. Even though, there already was like 2 other main vampires she could have fought. Instead, she kills one of them by simply shooting him with an arrow when he was about to shoot at Blade while Blade was fighting Dracula. And then the other one decides to fight Ryan almost as soon as he beats Triple H. Just waits until he kills Triple H. I thought she could have had a final fight too. And for some reason, this movie is the one that thinks, the side vampires and the main vampires deserve a long fight. Even though the characters sucked in this movie. Personally, the only line I liked in this movie was, Wesley Snipes' line. There's this human, I think, since he didn't turn into dust when he shot him. He might be a familiar. He never says, and usually familiars have like an egotistical attitude, as we've seen in the other 2 movies, is helping the vampires with like this blood thing. They just kidnap homeless people and put them in comas and just feed off their blood. Blade is like, hey, you get to leave, I'll give you 20 seconds. And then he just says the word 20 and shoots him in the back while he runs away. Only thing I really liked about this movie, but it was really boring and I almost fell asleep on multiple times, like I've already said. I don't fall asleep on movies unless it's like really late at night and I'm tired. and I was falling asleep on this movie because it was just awful. All the stupid lines in this movie, the whole plot premise, it didn't really get me invested in any characters besides like the main three. Even though, like I already said, there was a side villain and a main villain, and I could not get interested into them because they were really boring. And there's also a thing where Blade kills the human, right? And the cops immediately know where his hideout is. Well, you killed a human. Well, we know where you live now. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, terrible movie. Would not recommend it. Watch the first, maybe the second one. The second one's pretty good, but the first one is fantastic. But all you really need to do is watch like the first two and pretend this movie doesn't exist.